All right, this is Michael Williams here again with Gaurav Agnihotri. And Gaurav, it's great to have you back again today. Today we are going to talk about um, minimally one thing, and we may actually expand into a couple of other things. But we said that we were going to talk about how to handle high pressure situations. So, for many people, even people that don't consider themselves as people who stutter, a high pressure situation is something like when they have to give a presentation to a large group. To some people, it's a presentation to any group. But when they have to stand before a group of people, that's one. Another one is when they have to do an interview, right? Either with one person or if it's like a team interview or a panel. Some other high pressure situations may be talking with their boss or someone in authority, meeting new people, talking to someone of the opposite sex. So, and there are other ones, but those are probably some of the top high pressure situations. What What are your thoughts about how to handle high pressure situations?
Yes, Michael, there are like a lot of places where I feel that it's really difficult for me to speak fluently, and these are like the situations that you just told. So one of my greatest high pressure situation is giving a presentation in front of people, in front of colleagues with whom I have worked or I will be working in future, and in a big room. So it's giving a presentation in a big room where a lot of people are noticing you. So this is like a very high pressure situation, and believe me that in your career you will come to a point where a successful presentation will make a difference between promotion or demotion. So it's really important that you are able to present confidently in front of a large group of people. What I do is that the first thing I did was I said I need to get out of my comfort zone. So for that, I joined Toastmasters.
Mm.
I go to the meetings every week. I do presentation every month. And what I do is before I give the presentation there, I have a mentor and I give a presentation to my mentor. So in that way, I know in my in the in the back of my mind, I know that I can do this thing, that I can give a presentation to my mentor. I can give I have given this presentation, so I'm more confident when I walk into the room and give it to a large group of people. So that is one thing that I do. The second thing I do is that if I have any problem with any words or any phrases, I try to replace it with words that have very similar meaning, but or I try to say it in a different way. Like I don't have to say it the way that I'm having problems. There are several ways of saying the same thing, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I usually avoid doing it. Sometimes I have a problem saying, like in the beginning of the meeting, you have to address and say, fellow Toastmasters and Mr. Toastmaster, and you have to greet all the people. Sometimes I cannot say that, so I say, dear friends, today is a beautiful day. I'm very excited. So I change, like I give myself flexibility to be in control of the situation because it's very important that you are in control
Now
whenever.
let me interject there because some people may see that as avoidance, and if you're replacing words, that's what many people are trying to get away from. But as you know, one of the things that we talk about in the Pro 90D speech system or proactive speaking is proactive thinking. And I think you described it very well, even better than I did in that way. And so give yourself flexibility. And you also said make sure that you're in control. So it sounds like what you're saying is that um, sometimes people feel like there's only one way to say something, or like they have to say this at this time. And therefore, that increases the anxiety right there, just by feeling like I have to say it this way, I have to say these words, I have to say it now. But what you're saying is that give yourself some flexibility, and it doesn't mean that you're going to avoid these words all the time for the rest of your life, but you have to feel like you're in control of your situation, and therefore you can be flexible in what you're going to say, when you're going to say it, and how you're going to say it.
That is absolutely right, Michael. It's so important to be in control of the situation. Don't let any fear or any anxiety overtake you. Because if that happens, you're done. You are done. So it's really, really important to focus on to like it's really important to give yourself flexibility so that you can change the introduction of your presentation. You should be like sometimes I cannot speak good morning, so what I do is I say hello, good morning, and people receive it, people receive it with no problem. I mean, I had no problem with people receiving that message.
Right.
Sometimes I cannot say Toastmasters. So what I do is that I start a sentence like, oh, this is a beautiful day. I love this day, and I'm very excited to present this topic. Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear friends. So you don't have to say it in the beginning. You can say it like once you start and you have that rhythm, then you can say that word. Don't, because if you do that, you're putting yourself under a lot of pressure. And what happens is that if you fail, at that point, it's so critically important to succeed and to have good memories. If you fail at that time, you will go in a downward spiral. It's
Exactly.
very difficult to get out of that situation.
So, I mean, you said a lot of really important stuff that we talk about. So we really, this whole thing has a lot to do with changing the way we think about ourselves, about speaking, and about our speaking situations. So it's not just learning, retraining ourselves to speak well, but it's also retraining our patterns of thinking, right? Because if we let
Right.
ourselves get into high pressure situations where we feel pressured to respond right then and there, like we're in a rush, or we have to get it all out now, or
Right.
I have to say hello just like this right now, or I have to say my name. I just have to come out and say my name. I can't say, oh, my name is whatever. Then what happens is we put ourselves we increase the level of anxiety and pressure, which then can diminish our speech and sometimes destroy our speech in that moment, right? Because we've put ourselves under that unnecessary pressure. What you just described is a way to release that pressure and give us more confidence and control.
Right, and let me tell you the biggest thing, the most effective thing that I have found out to deal with the pressure is to smile. It's simple and it is effective. So like sometimes when I go out and I'm meeting new people, I just smile and I just take my time. And there are like different ways. Like I always had a problem saying my name, and especially my last name, because my last name is really big and it starts with a vowel. So I always had a problem saying my last name. So I have like 3 or 4 ways of saying it. So suppose if I'm meeting someone and he says, "Hi, my name is Ryan," and I would say, "Hey, Ryan, my name is Gaurav. How are you?" So it's very simple. So instead of saying my name, Gaurav, I'm using a phrase in front of it, and it sounds very natural. People never, object, or people never look back at you. Oh, like they accept it. And the
Right.
thing is that you feel so much relief that now you're able to say your name
Yes.
correctly. I mean,
Exactly.
it is such a relief. I cannot describe it. Like I went to a lot of places where I had to introduce myself or my wife or my kids, and I always use, a sentence in the beginning. Or I say his name first, hey Ryan. Okay, okay, Ryan. Hi, my name is Gaurav. My Shilpi and my cat. So instead of just saying the name, there are several different ways that you can phrase your sentence. But remember, always remember, be in control of the situation. Don't let it overtake you.
Right.
If you let it, if you let the situation overtake you, your self-confidence and your self-esteem will be destroyed. So
Right.
don't do that.
So what's happening is that you're taking the sting out of all those situations that formerly a person may have been afraid of, right? We're taking the sting out of it, giving them back control, giving them several different ways that they can go in and introduce themselves. And once you've done this, it's strategic in a sense. Once you've done it, some people may think, wow, that takes a lot of energy and I have to think about this and that. But actually, it's very easy, it's very relaxing to be able to have flexibility in how you're going to say something. And you feel more confident. You've now, in a psychological and biological sense, you're creating now these new positive memories, positive experiences of you performing well in these kinds of high pressure situations, right? Because you've taken control
Right.
and you've been flexible, so now you can introduce yourself without any problem. Sure, you may add a word or a sentence. So what? Just like you said, it sounds
Oh,
perfectly
yeah.
wonderful, right?
Sounds perfectly natural, and people do it. I had a lot of problem like whenever I go and buy something and I'm using my debit card, so people would ask whether it's credit or debit, and I had a lot of problem to answer that. So what I did was that I came up with this rule of saying, oh, it is a debit. So very, very simple. People don't, look at you, oh, he doesn't remember his credit or debit or something like that. It's a different way of saying. And I'm perfectly in control of the situation. So instead of just saying debit, I'm saying, yes, it is debit. Or yeah, debit.
Right.
So there are like, I have 6 or 7 ways of saying it. So whenever I'm faced with that situation, before my heart used to pump like boom, 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 boom. Oh
Right.
my God!
Just to be able to use your debit card.
now, now, now the lady there or this gentleman is gonna ask me whether it's debit or credit. Boom, 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 boom.
Right.
And I go there. I say, okay, yeah, that is really easy. All that I have to say is say yes, this is debit,
Yeah.
or it is debit, or yes, debit, or debit. Sometimes I say debit and it comes
Comes out
up.
right.
So I don't really have to. So I am able to come to that point where I can speak this word correctly because of the prior successful experiences, and I've built a memory there. So even if sometimes I'm trying and I'm not able to say this word, I have previous successful experiences, and that will help me. So
Exactly.
even if sometimes I stutter or I'm not able to say this word, I have so many successful experiences that I know that I can speak
Yeah.
this word or this phrase next time.
And that
So
you were
simple
able
as
to
that.
create those experiences because of proactive thinking. That is because of taking control
Exactly.
and giving yourself flexibility. You would have never been able to even establish those successful speaking experiences if you just waited on improving your speech by itself, right? So if you just said, okay, I'm going to wait till I can say this, it probably would have never happened because a part of being able to say it is establishing successful speaking experiences so that you feel more comfortable.
Exactly.
Now, the other thing that I want
Because you
people
go in this vicious cycle, Michael. You go in this vicious cycle. I'm sorry.
yeah, you're right,
Uh,
right,
Interrupted you, but you go in this vicious cycle. Like one time you're able to say it, second time you are not able to say it, third time again you fail. Then you go into this vicious cycle and you go on and on and on. So it's really important to be in control of the situation, or and if being in control means that you have to say it in a different way or in a different manner, say it in a different way or different manner. Like when I go, I in the Halloween, sometimes I had to go and knock on the door and say trick or treat. So I really had a problem with trick or treat, and so what I did was I started singing it a little bit, singing it trick or treat, and I was able to say that. So, because I used to go with my kids and I was very conscious, oh my God, I have to speak it, because my kids are watching me. And it's like, it's very simple, but you are meeting new people there and you're like, oh my God, this. But if you sing it a little bit, take a treat, and you're able to say that. So
exactly.
simple as that. So you have to come up with this proactive thinking, and
Yeah.
that is very important.
Now, one of the things that I want people to know is we don't just use strategies to improve our speech. That's just one part of it. The other major part that we do is we practice creating this new style. And one of the things that you did is at the beginning of each of your presentations, you'd have to say your name. You say, "Hi, this is Gaurav Agnihotri," right? And so that you would end up saying it hundreds and hundreds of times. That as many times as you practiced the presentation, you would practice saying your name, which developed the connection, the memory, the neural pathways of, hey, I can say my name. I've been saying it hundreds and hundreds of times in practice. So when you go to say it, it just comes out, right? You don't even hardly have to think about it, right?
That is absolutely right. And Michael, I remember that in the beginning I had some problem with my last name, and you had me, start the presentation again and again. So I came to a point where I was able to do it, and it was a very stressful situation because I was giving you a presentation. So mentally, what I was thinking was if I can do it in this high pressure situation, not well in the normal situation, I would be able to do it fairly easily because I can do it now in a high pressure situation with you, presenting you and saying my name and saying it in a style. So everything, but it took time. I think it took me a month to really, see a visible difference. So 30 days, at least it took me 30 days to see a visible difference.
Exactly. And that's what I want people to know. Hopefully folks are watching this who I hope everyone is watching this, but especially people that are working through different courses or different parts of the program or whatever, that this took you a good month of practice. We met twice a week, and then you were practicing on your
Mm-hmm.
own, and it took a month of that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've found from uh, my experience working with people is it takes between 30 days to 45 days, so 4 to 6 weeks. There's a hump there, and many people unfortunately quit before that hump comes. Or they're not practicing regularly. They're 1 day here, a couple 15 minutes there, 1 week. So they're not building that momentum, building that foundation that's absolutely necessary during that first 6 weeks.
That is right. And Michael, what also happens is that when people practice and they go out, they want to take a risk. So rather than being in control, what they do is now that I've done so much practice, let me try this new word which I always had a problem. Let me try it in a stressful situation. So people start taking risks, or people say that, oh, I have been practicing for so long, let me take a risk there. You should not do it. You should be patient. You have to practice, and you have to gradually get to that level. So what I did was, I did 3 months of training with you. After that, I gave myself a month, and after that, I joined Toastmasters. And in the Toastmasters, for the first 2 months, I gave no presentation at all. I just took small roles, and I saw myself speaking. How am I speaking in front of the people in a stressful situation, in a high pressure situation? When I was successful there, then gradually I took it to the next level. I gave my icebreaker speech. It didn't go that well, so I gave myself some time. I again rehearsed. I gave my first speech after 2 months. So I always give myself time to understand what is happening. If something is not working, then what do I need to do? I would tell all the people there that don't take unnecessary risk. Have as many successful experiences as you can before going into a high pressure situation. So
Exactly.
build a solid foundation of good memory and of positive experiences before going into a high risk situation, so that you are prepared. You're ready to take on a challenge.
That's right.
Don't just go there and, okay, I practiced for 4 hours. Let me try, making a phone call to my boss and see the improvement. It will not. It doesn't work like that. You have to gradually take steps.
That's exactly right. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. What I'd like to do in the future is I'd like to get some people here with us live so that they can ask some questions via the chat box here. We'll see how that works. You know, you know how
Right.
technology is, so we'll give it a try. I'll send out a notice and let
Uh-huh.
people know what time we're going to be meeting, and I may
Right.
only be able to send that out 24 hours in advance, but and then people can join us and ask us some questions.
Mhm.
So next time, I think we will talk about perhaps interviewing. It's like talk about some specific high pressure
Mhm.
situations. You know, maybe presenting before a group or something like that, and get into
Mm.
a little bit more detail. We can't share everything, but we can share some tips and so forth. So thank you very much
Right.
for your knowledge and your wisdom and experience. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right.